right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my buddy Chuck in the flesh.
Hey now.
And through the miracle of computer phone, John.
Aloha.
Hey John.
You're telling me you're not on the interstate? I just heard a car.
There was a car.
John is purportedly in an office.
I am in an office.
There's a motorcycle just went by.
Right near the Nashville Super Speedway.
I guess I am kind of close to the interstate, but I am in an office.
Okay.
That works. You you're working off debts? What are you doing, John, in an office? A man like you.
Oh, Keith, when you grow up, you'll have to get a job one day, too.
You say that. I have seen no evidence of either one of you. Or myself.
Perhaps if you had any talents to purvey or sell, you could maybe get a job in the creative sector.
I'm done
to
with.
Which you have aspired and failed.
I'm done working. I think I'm
No,
permanently retired.
What's the point?
It's just stupid at this point. Or are we gonna be part of the rat
maybe
race?
The stupidest, most heinous job I've ever had.
Really? Are you at the Country Music Television headquarters?
I am.
What is it like there, John?
I know some people who've been in and out of there.
Yeah, I think I saw some of your high school friends, Keith, today.
No.
Or college friends, or those people that I
does
see
John even know where I went to
high
high school?
Yeah, I don't think he does.
I know you're the type of guy who all your friends are from when you were a child and forced to make friends.
You keep those. Those are the important ones.
Yeah, the old days. But I think I've seen a couple of them floating around. But this is where creativity goes to.
What is it like in there? Describe it.
It's like a Hawaiian shirt.
Is it with soaked in Axe body spray?
I'll give it to you. That's not bad, but every time I do work here, they give me a gift at the end of my commemorative stint, as if to say, please, God, don't come back. And last time it was steel-etched Toby Keith playing cards.
Damn!
But these were at least not in lieu of payment. I know a lot of creative work in Nashville. They're like, oh, and here is $20 at Guitar Center.
Yeah,
like, that's not money.
You're getting a $10.99, buddy.
This is the type of job that you do strictly for the money, and then you never tell anyone ever.
Well, that's why I got you to talk about it on the podcast.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Chuck knows exactly where I am and what I'm doing, and knows how miserable I am, and then still asks.
I wanted it to be brought out for everyone else to enjoy.
Have we had breakfast?
Yeah, your boy went to Broasters.
Broasters?
Yeah. I'm doing this thing where I'm bringing my kid to school in the morning. So
taking your kid to his school?
My son to his elementary
It sounded
school.
like you were going to school and bringing your kid with you.
Just take him low post, Chuck.
I really
Jab
just
step, pop it back.
I hit that pivot.
He doesn't have the reach.
Do that dream shake. I brought my kid to school, and then there's Broasters there. So my kid cannot eat Broasters.
You don't get him the Broasters before?
No way. No, I want him to be bright and alive. Maybe some fruit and grapes. He likes to eat an oatmeal cookie, maybe. But yeah, he doesn't do fried biscuits.
Is there anything more satisfying than popping that oatmeal cookie?
Oh, the Little Debbie?
Taking in one hand, don't take the wrapper off, and then you just clap down on that thing.
Yeah. My son, he eats nothing but bacon, chicken tenders, and then anything with sugar.
Keto?
No.
Keto, man?
Yeah, and then sugar. Just whatever sugar it is, he'll just put it in his face.
Oh, actually, we have a live updating croissant query for John.
Ooh.
Speaking of keto, Texamista would like to know, how is Burr's keto coming? Visible changes in body composition. We can't see you as you race down the interstate or are in an office building. What is the answer to Texamista's question?
I saw him.
I'll let Chuck answer.
I saw him on Sunday. We did a live stream of the clip. No, what was it? The Dubs Mavs game. That's what it was.
There you go.
And John's looking svelte.
A little svelte.
He's got a glow to him. There's a little spark in his step. He hates his dogs with a little more fervor.
That's right.
All but Bobby. He loves Bobby. But yeah, he's got a joie de vivre about him.
Oh, that's good.
There's a little bit of twinkle in his eye. He looks great.
So,
well, when your joints aren't throttling against an extra 25 or so pounds, you have a little more pep in your step.
Yeah.
That's good. I actually,
But he hates it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I hate
He
it.
hates it. Don't let for a second. His girlfriend fed me after the broadcast, and she's like, "These are all the things John can't eat." Like sweet, and he's just sad.
She made dinner. She made dinner for her and Chuck, and then I got the keto scraps.
He got like mushrooms and
Yeah.
like a piece of beef.
Speaking of that healthy glow, I actually skipped a Grizzlies game to go play Ultimate Frisbee, to actually do exercise for the first time in like a year.
It's January and it's nice. You should go outside.
It actually was at an indoor facility. It was
Oh,
was
wow.
lovely. The Vanderbilt field house was indoors. It was amazing. But I skipped the Rockets game where I watched like the end of it, where James Harden just obliterated the Grizzlies. James Harden and a roll of toilet paper and an oatmeal cream pie beat the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
But I like trying to maybe not be glued to the NBA every night and actually maybe exercising to fend off the crushing depression and or unhealthy feeling.
Oh, the new year.
I think you were just at a Young Republicans meeting and a Ultimate Frisbee game just broke out.
New year, new habits too. I just got a dog.
Oh.
Yeah. My son.
Tell them the name.
My son named him Mr. Noodle Butt. So, and I was just like trying to get him involved and like show him he's 5, trying to get him like to become an owner and have some ownership. I said, "You get to pick the name, buddy." And he goes, "Mr. Noodle Butt." And I'm like, well,
Does he have a noodle butt?
he does. He's got a very long tail.
Okay.
And yeah, it kind of, so we call him Noodle or Nudes.
Okay.
So,
Okay, that works.
yeah, so that works.
Send
But
them nudes,
ne-
Chuck.
never nude
You've
butt?
said that
You don't
phrase
need-
quite a bit.
You wouldn't call him nude butt?
Nude Butt's weird.
Kind of weird for a 5-year-old to walk around saying that.
Really, really weird.
I mean, around other people when you're at school.
Nudie butt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want any of that. But yeah, it's good. And he's my therapy dog. My life is in such disarray that instead of Ultimate Frisbee,
Yeah.
I decided to take care of another creature.
There you go.
And it's helping.
I didn't have a Monday night basketball game. I'm trying to. I haven't played basketball in over a year.
Oh, yeah?
Since this.
Don't do it.
Since the second baby.
It's
haven't
dumb.
played.
Just don't.
You will
I want
die.
to play again. Pretty bad.
Okay.
I miss fouling people.
That's what it is. Makes perfect sense.
I haven't fouled anyone.
He
in,
wants to
like,
get him-
like 15
That
months.
is the last skill to go. Keith.
It is.
I'm really good at fouling.
He's
Dribbling goes first. Shooting, in the middle. The last one, just a good hard foul. That's the last one.
yeah.
When they bring that ball down, driving the layup, whew,
Oh, you're silly?
I'm either getting all ball or all arm. Either way, he's not scoring.
There's no
Love
free
it.
buckets.
My breakfast was related to the oatmeal cream pie. I had an oatmeal cream pie inspired donut.
What?
I'll be real. Every now and then, as a man with a sweet tooth, I come up against a foe I cannot overcome. It was too much.
Really?
It was gross. I
You
mean,
were defeated.
It wasn't gross. It was 1 bite, 2 bites. Like, yeah, that's a lot. I'm good. Like it was.
I've been there.
I mean, it had like cream. It had like the white cream custard icing on top, and then inside was just another oatmeal cream. I'm like, that's too much cream inside a donut. It was a lot to handle. So I gave up. I called Uncle, said this is not for me.
Should have saved it. I would have gave you some feedback.
John, did you have a breakfast before we move on to our apologies?
I came into work. This is like normal business hours, which I'm not used to. I had to be here at 8:30, and they went to great lengths to tell me about the healthy breakfast that would be provided each day. Well, healthy meant bagel, cream cheese, fruit.
Right.
None of which I can eat. So I'm starving. Keith sent a picture of Wits, and I am going to Wits immediately when I get off work. And I don't even like Wits, but it just
There's
I need
never a
to get in
line.
that ketosis.
There's never a line.
There is never a
Keith
line.
builds a lot of his food choices on expediency.
The last time I ever
stood
went
in line for 20 minutes
The last time
at a Chipotle and watched Keith saunter in, dressed like True Detective, and saunter up to the front of the line, get his stuff. I don't even think they exchanged money. I think it's just
no man.
just part of
With
how
the
it's
app, you
done
don't have
now.
to do it.
He just pays.
I will say the last time I went to that horrible place, Pie 5, there was a line. There was 2 people. I'm like, whoa, I am not coming here if there's a line. I am not waiting for this.
There's too many puns on the wall there. None of them make any damn sense.
I don't think I've ever noticed.
How peculiar.
Oh, yeah. I've never noticed any of that. I just walk straight in and get my food.
Keith has tunnel vision at the 5-5.
All right, so those were our breakfasts. After our breakfast, we moved to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on any previous episode. It is frequently, the first time we talk about the NBA.
So,
yes, Chuck.
I'm sorry. I did this whole thing last week where I poked the bear. And I said,
yeah, you did.
I said Giannis couldn't beat Miami.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't good.
It just
built to beat the Bucks. He said
the Heat were built to beat the Bucks. They aren't. They're built to beat Giannis, and then Giannis decided to let every other Buck beat the Heat because that's what happened. Everybody went off. Giannis didn't even really score that many points. He had a triple-double.
That's what happened to the Grizzlies.
Right.
The Bucks went on a 21-2 run when Giannis left the game in the third quarter. Like, the Grizzlies got Giannis's fourth foul. I'm like, oh, we got him right where we want him.
Right.
And then
the Heat usually
Wilson
do
came
play
in
the Bucks
and,
well, though.
Yeah, no, the Heat, that was ugly.
Yeah.
That was the night of the NBA that had the largest scoring margin ever of all the games combined. The average margin of victory was 28.
That's insane.
I'm in one of the fantasy leagues I'm in on our Slack chat. Someone was talking about, hey, I'm trying to put together a crazy parlay. What are your 3 best underdog picks? My 3 picks lost by 140. I was like, Jimmy Butler playing the Timberwolves? The Timberwolves want to beat him real bad. Yeah, I lost by 40-something.
Insane.
Anyway. I guess I could apologize.
Yeah, that game was an excommunication of sorts.
That game was horrific. And then, of course,
we should have known. You got to know better, though, because that's Embiid who gets up for that stuff. That's Butler who gets up for that stuff. And then that's Karl Anthony Towns who turns around and pulls his butt apart for stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Shows him the old noodle butt.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's just a different mind. Those are 2 different mindsets. That's a perfect storm of noodle butting.
Yeah,
you just can't have that.
I mean, at one point in that Bucks Heat game, it was 98-68 or something.
Yeah, it was real bad.
Those are gross.
Yeah. But yeah,
when the Heat kind of do that when they're very Georgie Porgy. When they're bad, they're completely horrid.
It seems to,
but they usually line up pretty well against the Bucks. I thought.
My stat was the Heat were the only team to hold the Bucks under a 90 game score. Two games in a row or 2 years in a row. The only 2 times it happened to the Bucks.
What's a game score?
It's 90 points in a game.
Oh, just 90 points.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was like a basketball reference.
No, it's just
related to their game score.
No, not that.
Bad box
score of the game.
Gotcha.
I don't use good lingo.
No, you're just saying points.
Points.
Points is the word.
The game score.
Chuck calls points game score.
Whatever, you know.
It's good to know. It's not wrong. It's not wrong.
It's the score of the game.
It's not wrong,
guys.
My apology.
I like to. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would say my apology. This is official. I've hinted at it. I've flirted with it for a while. I just got to publicly say the Nets are pretty good.
Yeah,
I enjoy what they're doing. I think Sean Marks had too many friends in the media. People were just kind of building him up too much. There's still no excusing some of the deals they made. But from the situation they were in, not having any picks, they've become quite interesting. They have a bunch of really interesting players. Joe Harris, who I did officially apologize to like a year and a half ago, re-apologizing to him for something I said 3 years ago. I just thought he was a waste of a roster spot. He's phenomenal. D'Angelo Russell, he's still a little shot happy, but he's been great. He's turning into a very good player. Dinwiddie in the offseason.
Why aren't you talking about the God?
Jared Allen?
Or Atkinson, either one.
Oh, yeah. Kenny Atkinson doing a great job. I mean, because I was always like, I don't know why this is fun. They were praising them for taking the right shots when they have the wrong players taking the quote-unquote right shots. They had terrible shooting percentages. They're hard to watch. But they're a very interesting, fun team. You know, did they have to do all the things they did in the last 3 years to end up where they are now? I would disagree with that. I would say there's other ways to get there. But they seem to have a very strong, stable coaching staff, leadership in that front office, and they're a fun, good team. Probably going to make the playoffs. They look certain to make the playoffs in the East. Good job, Nets. I'm sorry.
And I can see a future where like the New York team is the Nets. You know,
I think so. When Fizdale enters year 3 and everyone abandons the Knicks.
And when Jimmy Dolan's saying stuff at Trump's funeral. You know what I mean? Like that, there could be a dynamic switch.
This is the year 2080.
Yes, there could be a switch in the fandom of the city in general, because New York is a Knick town, and if you picked up the Nets as a team, it was because you moved to Brooklyn and you rode a single fixed bicycle, single wheel unicycle with a handlebar mustache. That's why you pick the Nets. But if the Nets are good and the Knicks continue to stink, as they have of late, and I can see the city taking on the Nets as a franchise.
There is another reason to pick the Nets right now, and that's if you buy a ticket after tip-off, it's like $3.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, and also that's one of the over-unders I was most wrong on. Liking that under of 32. We're gonna blow right past that.
My apology is so. Did you guys remember there was supposed to be a game today?
Yeah, we're currently watching it, John.
Well, I was saying I knew it because I'd been stocking up my fantasy team with Washington Wizards, and then knew they only had one game this week, and I was like, "What in the world?"
Right.
And that's how I found out there was an NBA London. Was just based on fantasy basketball.
I found out because
I had to tearfully drop Jeff Green. And who's that? Thomas Bryant.
Yeah, I also had to drop Thomas Bryant.
Saturansky's got to go to the bench.
I hung on to Saturansky.
No. I kept Saturansky.
Me too.
I kept Saturansky. Yeah. But I had to tearfully drop Thomas Bryant and Jeff Green. I can't believe I said those things. But I just think it's you guys knew, so it's kind of ruining I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I look at, and I feel like I'm very attuned. And so I was like, is this on the NBA? And so I texted. So I used to live over there. So I texted 10 friends from London. One person knew about the NBA game.
It's not as big of a deal as the NFL.
So I thought maybe there would be like a huge, NBA press push here, but apparently not.
I don't know. Well, what's the cross section of the people you texted to? I mean, not knowing anything about who you hung out with in London.
Musician dinguses.
Yeah, they smoke jazz cigarettes.
Yeah. I texted myself 10 times.
I do think it's funny, though, when something NBA related happens that we have no idea about.
Right.
It's like, how did we not... Are we not watching inside the NBA enough? Are we not watching the mainstream things enough?
Well, this all got tied. The only reason I knew about it was because, I have a weird obsession with Enes Kanter, which has paid dividends this week in many ways. But yeah, I found out because he had his visa was supposed to be, according to the Turkish government, rescinded. And then he posted a picture of his visa and blah, 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 blah. But he's just afraid of polonium-13. He should be afraid of double cheeseburgers.
I was about to say, you know what he's not afraid of? Le Big Mac.
Well, I was so when the news came out that Enes Kanter it was like that one of the funny NBA headlines.
Right.
It's like Enes Kanter eats 7 hamburgers, misses practice next day with illness. My thought was everyone's laughing. I'm like, this is a man who's worried about being assassinated by poison, and he's saying he's sick after eating, and we're like, ha ha ha, he ate too many hamburgers.
Right. The most common way to kill a dissident, people.
Food poison.
I thought it was much more disturbing. Like, wait, did they check the food? And everyone's like, no, this is a funny Deadspin headline.
He did it to himself, and that's maybe the way the Turkish government wants to frame it. But the funny part about all this is like you're trying to be this political guy who's taking a stance against a dictator, and then you're also a clown.
Yeah, he's goofy.
Who gets DNP where the D is diarrhea.
Wait, diarrhea not play?
Diarrhea not play.
Diarrhea not play.
It's happened before to Mai Tai Lawson.
Oh, yeah.
Strip club tacos.
Strip club tacos.
Those tacos were strip club tacos.
I'll tell you one of the worst things. This is not my cream of wheat, but it could be. When news came out that Hedo Turkoglu was on the side of Erdogan. Erdogan. Thank you. I never actually say current event things out loud because I don't ever discuss them with
anyone.
Don't be afraid. Kanter comes out that he's worried about being assassinated, and then Turkoglu calls him a terrorist. Mm-hmm. And Hoops Hype, important Twitter account was like, "Who were you on? Team Cantor or Team Turkaloo? Like, what in the
I
world?
saw that.
Get
This
outta
guy's
here.
worried about being assassinated. He's like, who are you on? Which side are you on?
He's a fascist dictator who is ruining his country, and there's protests in the streets, and we got to pick a side.
I mean,
BuzzFeed.
Never forget that Nazism started with just a few harmless tweets.
Those were our apologies, yes?
Sure.
I still got to go.
John has
No, John, I thought he went. You said you were...
I went, but I feel like
in the day
you guys knew, and that kind of
you were
ruins it.
apologizing for the day game. Please, apologize again if you like.
Sorry, John.
And this one comes from the heart, because I feel like I damned this player. Monte Morris, where have you gone?
He hasn't disappeared that much, but...
The minutes are way down, and I miss him so.
His magical start was unsustainable.
I don't know, man. That assist to turnover rate wasn't going down, and he did it all through college, and I really wanted to see if he could keep doing it, because it was incredible to watch. I mean, when's the last time you saw a guy that, like, efficient with the ball as far as taking care of it?
White Jason Williams on the Grizzlies. Surprisingly led the NBA, I think, in assisted turnover. When he was...
Well, it takes a lot of focus and concentration when the only types of passes you are making are off your elbow or rock hard boner. You have to really think about what you're doing.
Or Soup Bowl haircut.
I'm not... I mean, again, he's played his normal amount. I'm looking his game log. 14, 27, 29, 23, 24, 24. These are his normal amount of minutes.
John's he's reaching.
No, his minutes have gone down since Gary Barton came back. He's not getting. He's not even playing with the same.
Unfortunately, Gary Harris is out. Will Barton has returned.
Will Barton, yeah, excuse me.
But yeah, no, I think the Nuggets are they're holding on outside of getting curb stomped by the Warriors.
Yeah, that was going to happen.
Awesome.
Yeah,
but my favorite Nuggets lineup is officially dead, and that's okay. You know, they're still good. And that's another thing that I would like to bring to light, the Nuggets, is that they were on this kind of magical run with guys out.
Yeah, I think it helped them.
Yeah, and I wonder, it's so weird. I wonder what the chemistry will be like going forward. They still have looked great. I mean, they did get curb stomped, but that was kind of, and we'll get to that in my worst of the week, that was kind of didn't so much have to do with them.
Yeah, but they had their win against the Blazers when Plumlee just like...
Oh, the Jokic. I had the entire podcast episode with Adam Mares this week, just about that.
Play. The Nuggets have been winning games during a really tough stretch. They've won games that I really think they had even planned to be like schedule losses.
Right.
Like if you look at how the minutes were doled out and some of those. So the Nuggets still look really phenomenal. I'm just really sad that I'm not going to get to see Monte Morris and Jokic do that thing anymore. But that's okay.
I want to say they've played 11 games in the last 15 days.
Yikes.
So, I mean, it catches up with them.
A really tough stretch that they excelled.
I mean, also, and if you had a Nugget on your fantasy team last week when they played five games in a week, I was explaining this games in a week thing to Chuck, and it blew his mind.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's how I can win.
That's how you win at fantasy. Anyway, those are our apologies. Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, we have a few listener-submitted questions. The croissant? Questionnaire.
Any questions?
Yes. Are you going to finish that croissant?
Knock yourself out.
Chair Bear asks,
Chair Bear,
which of these Eastern Conference teams will bleep it up when playoffs? Actually, he wrote when percentage ampersand ampersand bleep it up when playoffs come as contenders. Toronto, Boston, Philadelphia, Indiana, or Milwaukee. Which of these Eastern Conference teams will mess it up in the playoffs come as contenders?
I wanted to say Boston, and then last night happened.
Yeah, last night on Wednesday night where Kyrie Irving took over and destroyed the Raptors.
And that was going to be like my best of the week was like Nets fans in the blowout chanting Kyrie leaving, which is amazing. And like,
that's good fan work.
And like, yeah,
that's good fan work.
That's like top tier fan stuff. And
did you guys notice the line on that Celtics Raptors game when it came out?
Wasn't it Celtics? They were favored by 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Celtics favored.
Yeah,
and that was one of those lines where it's like, oh God.
Yeah. Vegas knew.
Yeah.
Better take the Celtics.
Yeah. But, but they had looked like trash. Miami beat the brakes off of them. But now, and also the weird thing with Kyrie apologizing to LeBron, it smells fishy. It smells like Kyrie's playing something. Like he's like saying, I'll leave.
I
can
just think
go.
he can't stop talking.
Yeah.
He can't stop talking.
I know the problem.
See, I get all my news from Twitter, and I have Kyrie muted. I have the word Kyrie muted, so I don't.
Oh, that's great.
Everyone's talking. I don't.
Well, he effectively said that he called LeBron and apologized for being a young, go hard on the Cavs, and leading a team is different and it's hard, and trying to get the skilled players to play together and all that stuff. He basically tucked his tail, and I think prepping himself for maybe a trip west.
So yeah, this is
sounds to me more like he's shaming the younger players on his team. He's subtweeting.
Sounds like this is just Kyrie calling his dad and being like, "Hey, you know what? Now I have kids, and it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I'm sorry I cursed you out at Christmas.
I realized you had some tough decisions to make. Let's get
God. If I'd known my son would be Terry Rozier.
yeah. Let's get to Chair Bear's question. So, which of these 5 teams?
Can you please do the question in French Canadian accent, please?
No, I can't. So, which of these will mess up when the playoffs come as contenders? Well, first of all, I'd like to say I think Indiana is happy to be called a contender.
Oh yeah,
no kidding.
They're just happy to be this question.
Dance.
So, I guess the question is
Can we just take them off the list?
Well, so for me, the question is which one of these 5 teams is not making the second round?
Right.
I assume because right now the Pacers are in the 3 seed.
Right.
As we're talking.
Yeah, but
So right now your 4-5 is Sixers Celtics. So I think
that ain't good.
I think it's great.
It'll be a great series.
That's a great series. So I thought it would be fun for a while. I kind of thought that the Pacers, when they were lower in the standings, when they were 5th or 6th, I was like, the Pacers, I think, can upset the Celtics.
Right.
Or the Sixers. I thought that was going to be kind of a fun thing. They'd be underdogs.
No.
I thought they had a chance. If the Pacers have a home court advantage, I think they definitely could, but they won't even be messing with them. They'll be messing with the Nets or the Heat or somebody if they can hang on there. So John, you're saying, I can tell by the tone of your dismissive voice, you don't think the Pacers are in the same category as those other 4 teams?
I think Oladipo has not looked the same.
I still think maybe he's getting healthier because you're right. He hasn't looked great.
And if you look at his numbers, they've really, really come down compared to last year's, which most improved player, probably one of the best players in the league last year. So that's nothing to smirk at. But I feel like the Pacers are a notch below the top 4 teams in the East.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way, but I think the regular season they can continue to win at this pace. I think it's very possible for the Pacers to keep putting together a very good regular season. And if they can...
Of these teams, their seeding means the most to them by far.
Exactly.
But with Oladipo playing, Indiana's, still been playing good basketball. They got a better point differential than the Raptors.
I was saying they've even won games this year without him,
right?
Which they didn't do at all last year.
So they're forming their bench, and if Oladipo rounds out to form by playoff time, we've seen him take over games. We've seen him be that dude in Indiana. So here's my big picture thing. If you look at those teams that Justin gave us, all of them, except for one, have a bunch of things in common. Mostly being, other than Boston, nobody with any real championship experience. So Toronto does with Kawhi and Danny Green. So those 2 teams, I'm putting them aside because they actually have guys who have played in big games, and even the Raptors, when they got stomped, they've been to the second round of the playoffs with their bench guys. So it's not going to be weird. The Bucks, I think, are going to have a problem trusting them in the playoffs late because they just don't have the experience.
It's going to feel like you're ignoring George Hill and his contributions to the Cavaliers.
Sorry. Sorry, you're right. You're right. Forgive me.
That's good stuff.
I think Milwaukee and Toronto are clearly the 2 best of these. Right. I trust them more, even despite Wednesday night's victory for the Celtics. Yeah. I'm a little worried still about the Celtics and the Sixers as far as advancing.
I'm not worried.
Like
I'm not worried about the Celtics, but I share your sentiment with the Sixers.
I don't know. The Celtics are interesting because there seems to be, Danny Ainge has assembled this wonderful all-star, kind of cool team. It's not all-stars, but there's, it's a stacked roster with a bunch of young kids and talent in their prime. There's a lot of infighting there now, and they don't know what they're doing. One of the Morris twins tried to push Jaylen Brown and fell over. There's fights in the locker room. I don't know what obviously Brad Stevens is the master of the X and O's, but what about like managing these guys? And this is the problem that we saw at the maybe happening at the beginning of the season.
Sometimes these player blow-ups on a team, I feel like too much is made of them, first of all. And then second of all, I think sometimes they help.
Yeah.
So, and it can have like a galvanization effect. But so we're done talking about the Pacers, right?
Yeah,
no more Pacers. I think the Pacers, if they can hold seed, they can. I still think they could actually beat. I think if the playoffs started, in a week, what I'm seeing, I could see them beating the Sixers and the Celtics in a playoff series. Am I expecting it come April? Maybe not. Maybe they won't even play, though, if they can hold seed.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see them winning some games in a series, but I guess my thesis statement for this question would be that the one that looks kind of like the most that looks like a pretender to me of those top four is the Sixers in a 7-game series, because they can really turn it on and really blow a team out when Embiid's hitting his shots and is going off and Butler's doing his thing. But then they have those other moments where they get bogged down in their complete lack of offense. And then also, like, if Embiid doesn't stay healthy, because he kind of like he's had knee issues and is spending a lot of time with the trainer on the sideline, they're like just one bad situation from being like really
even when they're healthy in the playoffs, it's like they got to get something from Wilson Chandler, Landry Shamet, Johns, who he doesn't trust in the clutch, JJ Redick. Like this team lacks the depth. Let's move to another question.
I mean, they kind of live and die with Redick, honestly.
They make sense when you look at the roster, because there's no one good beyond him,
and they could pick up any
on that depth chart.
And they're auditioning a bunch of bums.
Mike asks with
Corey Brewer.
Right.
They signed Corey Brewer. That's desperation.
They signed him?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm.
Mike asks, with Chris Paul and Capella out, who are the second and third best players on the Rockets?
Give me peanut butter and jelly Tucker.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably.
No, you're right. You're right.
I'm not wrong.
It's PJ Tucker and Austin Rivers.
Oh God!
Oh, come on!
Isn't it? Who is it, John? They literally.
That is some cold-blooded stuff.
I mean, they played one of the games of the year. I was in and out of it intermittently against the Nets. They blew a big lead in the final minutes of overtime, and they blew lead into regulation.
Can you ask me the question again?
Who are the second and third best players on?
It doesn't matter who the second and third best players are. They have James Harden.
He's scoring
they have God.
90 points a game.
They have Moses.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was crazy where they're playing Gary Clark. They're playing, is it Daniel House, who they decided...
Daniel House.
Daniel.
And that guy wouldn't even sign a minimum deal with them.
They got Brandon Knight on the bench.
Hardball. They were bringing him, like against the Grizzlies, they brought in Marcus Chris, and like, this guy sucks, get him out. They brought in Isaiah Hartenstein, like, this guy sucks, get him out. It didn't even matter.
Eric Gordon, why are we...
Eric Gordon isn't playing.
He's not playing.
He's hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, all these guys are hurt. They're literally playing with no one.
James Ennis.
I think Eric Gordon just came back, but he's been so bad that it doesn't matter.
I mean, Harden is averaging, 47 in his last 4? But they're losing. He's 44 points per game in the month of January. But they're just...
Someone sent me his stat line and tried to get me to guess what player it was. and I texted back Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah. He scored.
And then he was like, "No, dude, that is James Harden." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Then tell me, how bad is Carmelo Anthony that on that team that's been that hurt, he couldn't get any.
That part's pretty funny.
It's the saddest and funniest.
So in his last 2 games, James Harden has
900.
He has 58 and 57 points.
First back-to-back 50-point game since Wilt is still.
0 of those baskets have been assisted.
Yeah.
What?
He scored 115 points
with no help.
None of his baskets have been assisted.
Do you guys remember? I don't even think it's been 3 weeks since we completely took Harden out of an MVP discussion.
Yeah.
I just looked up the Rockets roster.
Why are we apologizing for that?
They got a guy named Hartenstein.
Yeah, Isaiah Hartenstein.
I love that
Yeah.
name.
Just mention him.
You did? Oh,
He's
sorry.
probably going to have to get serious minutes at the 5.
Wow.
So hard. But here's the thing: everyone is putting James Harden into the he's jumping up in the MVP conversation while his team plays 500 basketball. This doesn't make any sense.
But I mean, you can't
What do you mean it doesn't make any sense?
You can't just say those games in a bubble and his team
Yeah,
500 in a
there's something
bubble.
called context.
The team is disintegrated.
No,
the
you're
second
saying
best player.
you're saying, oh look, James Harden can score 55 points in games, and the Rockets are worse. I mean, obviously because they're missing players.
Right.
But why is that? Why does that bolster someone's MVP case that he can fill up the stat sheet? Yes, he's obviously one of the best players in the world, and it's incredible that he's scoring 57, 58 points per game, but I don't know why that would launch him to the front of the MVP race. If he averages 40 points per game and they're a 500 team, why is that good?
Well, if he averages,
why is that better than him averaging 30 points per game and then winning 75% of the games?
Because the narrative people are dumb. The people who
also
buy into that stuff are dumb, and they need it.
His entire supporting cast has disappeared. Going 500 during a stretch when your entire starting lineup is out it's
remarkable.
In fact, proof of how valuable you are to your team.
To drag,
especially when people have said, especially when people were like, "Oh, it's Chris Paul is the reason that they're good," et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I feel like you answered your own question, Keith. I guess.
I mean, I don't think it. I'm not saying it hurts him in the MVP race, but just him doing this incredible. Whatever that was the 2006 Kobe year, he had 60% usage. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And we saw the Nets throw in the junk college church league triangle and 2 defense on James Harden. So that's amazing. That's funny to watch. That's cool.
Teams are trying to figure
I guess it moves him up in the MVP race. It just seems strange when he's asked to do everything and he's doing it, but they're obviously worse because he needs help.
If you're complaining about the fact that while I thought he was playing at MVP caliber while those guys were healthy, and there was no one talking about it then or poo-pooing it then, poo-pooing. That's what Inez Cantor did after those burgers. But people are, that, and this was my worst of the week. All these people giving crap, to insane performances by players because of their
we have jumped
not
the shark
perfect. Yes,
of something when I heard Kevin Arnovitz and Zach Lowe shaming each other, or each one of them was emphasizing how little they cared that Russell Westbrook averages a triple double.
That's so silly.
I can't do it.
Guys,
I cannot take that
pretty
tone
cool
anymore.
Yeah, he's
for 3 years in a row.
Just say it. He's averaging a triple double. You're shaming someone.
Eye roll.
Even worse. Bill Simmons said on his podcast that LeBron averaging 27, 7, and 7 is more impressive than averaging a triple double.
You're out of your mind.
It is literally by the numbers
less impressive.
Yeah, that confused me.
What did you just say, man?
As someone. We podcast, and then when you hear your podcast back, you're like, oh, I did not say that correctly.
Right.
So when you hear yourself and you're like, oh, I said that very wrong. I sound very stupid. So I don't know what Bill Simmons meant. I want to believe he meant something else. But he did say that. I heard it, and I was very confused.
I turned it off.
Anyway, let's move on. Those were our the croissant questionnaire, listener submitted questions from our Patreon supporters. If you want to submit your own question, you got to go to patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. You also get bonus content. We've been screwing around with some video stuff, all kinds of stuff, hopefully making it worthwhile. We just hope if you've been a long-time listener, you choose to support the show by going to patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Also, if you're shopping for tickets, go to SeatGeek.com. You use our code FASTBREAKBREAK at SeatGeek.com. You'll get $20 off your first purchase, whether you're going to a music event or a comedy event or basketball or NHL, whatever. If you're shopping on the secondary market, you go to SeatGeek.com. They've taken all the other ticket sites. They've shown you how cheap it is to go see the Memphis Grizzlies play in Memphis. It's very cheap. And then you pick out your best seats. You use our code FASTBREAKBREAK, same as the Twitter handle. You get $20 off your first purchase. Could not be easier.
Those other ticket sites are ticket shites.
That's right. I'm going Monday. I'll try to use.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. Going for the MLK, the Pelicans game as the Grizzlies spiral out of control.
You're going on Monday to Memphis, John?
See.
You didn't tell me?
Why would I tell you?
Because I like Memphis.
Anyway, SeatGeek.com.
Those days are over, man.
Use our code FASTBREAKBREAK.
I'm going to go to museums, not cocaine dens. Sorry.
Okay. Fine.
All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week?
My best thing?
Yes, Chuck.
There's a little, kerfuffle happened this week in the NBA with OG Bobby Portis and Kevin Durant.
What'd Bobby do?
There was just like a little thing,
Yeah.
Bobby thought Kevin fouled him, pulled his elbow, and there was, whatever, who cares? But Bobby Portis stepped up, and he didn't blink, and he looked Kevin Durant.
Wild-eyed. He can't blink.
I don't think he has eyelids.
He has a nictitating membrane that goes from side to side.
So it just reminded me now, with Zebo and Udonis Haslem, not being, prominent players, there's a current tough guy vacuum in the NBA. And I think Bobby Portis is a guy who knows history and knows that if there is a vacuum, it's time to step up. Because Zebo wasn't always Zebo. Zebo once punched Ruben Patterson in the face and ran to Antonio Davis's house because he was afraid of getting murdered.
Right.
So Zebo, while now...
Those are extenuating circumstances.
Of course. But as times change, so do the tough guys. Once, Kevin Durant was a skinny, snot-nosed kid out of high school. And then, not Kevin Durant, Kevin Garnett. Both of them.
He still is a skinny snot-nosed
Kevin
kid.
Garnett ended up forming his own persona as NBA tough guy.
Right.
Yeah,
and I think OG Bobby Portis is word on the street. He's a suspect. He's coming for NBA tough guy #1.
Kevin Garnett. You're giving Kevin Garnett credit for like creating a persona. Some's a little loose in the brain of Garnett. I mean, he's a little off. I think,
but that's what he wants you to think.
But I think he is.
He's been a millionaire since he was 17. He's fine.
But that's true. I'm not saying there's anything
Bobby
wrong
Portis
with him.
knocked Nikola Mirotic's season into
orbital bone
oblivion.
Crushed. Orbital bone. And
Bobby Portis has bona fides.
Yeah, his resume's legit.
He broke a teammate's face, and they put him on the leadership council this year.
And then they traded the teammate whose face he broke.
Yeah, they traded away the guy he punched.
So there's some guys I think that are coming.
He's
for
Montenegrin.
And he's
It was a confusion. It was confusion.
That's
It was
right.
Montenegrin.
You better soften that R, Keith.
So who's coming for the NBA tough guy? Who's the next one? It's either Bobby Portis or Jim Boylan. I think Jim Boylan's going to fight somebody.
I think it was. And Yusuf Nurkic has that street cred.
Yeah,
but also his dad was just like a big cop. Do we know
coming after Nurkic?
No, it's just genetics.
Like Jermichael Green pulled his shorts up on Nurkic, and he didn't do anything.
Kind of wild. And everyone gives credit to James Johnson, Bloodsport, but I think John, you've always kind of doubted
these NBA players aren't ladies, guys. Sorry.
No, the other part is I think James Johnson's hands have to be registered as weapons legally. He's like a black belt.
They are because he beat up some woman.
Allegedly,
it was dropped.
So was she?
Yeah. Let's go to my best thing. This right now NBA London game, which is on as we record on Thursday afternoon. Ted Leonosis, the owner of the Wizards, he came out by saying the Washington Wizards will never tank. Finally, someone fighting the good fight. Yes, that's correct, Ted. I know everyone's getting angry. The dunked on groupthink is coming for them. They're all like, we got to shut it down. Tanking works in very specific circumstances. Worked out for the Grizzlies to get Jaren Jackson Jr. A lot of good that's done us.
Give it time.
It does work out in specific circumstances, but it doesn't always work. there's a lot of different ways to get to being competitive. Kevin O'Connor with the Ringer was always saying, you guys should tank, telling Memphis to tank. He also thought the Raptors should tank 2 years ago. Thought the Pacers should tank.
Yeah.
These teams are back up and good. A lot of ways to do it. And also the new...
Can you give me that list of teams that he thought should tank again?
2 years ago, he thought the Pacers should blow it up and the Raptors should blow it up.
Yeah.
That's
How do these people have jobs, man?
But that was like a common... This is a common... whatever you want to call it, NBA intelligentsia thing, where if you're not winning the title, if you've realized you've hit your peak capacity potential for the players you have, start over. Which is
that's not how sports work. That's not how commerce works.
Families.
That's not how business works. That's not how anything works.
I agree. So we all agree with this. And so the Wizards, even Wizards fans, kind of want them to blow it up and like tank it out for Zion. But then the lottery reform that the NBA has passed and goes into effect this year, like even if you finish with the worst record, there's a 48% chance you have the 5th pick.
Right.
That's a coin flip.
Yeah.
That's like you bet on black.
Yeah.
Like you have a 48% chance of being out of the top 4, even with your worst record. So like they flattened it. I think it works well. Like they're saying, let's throw away a season. This is what a lot of people say. Now I'm doing the Zach Lowe. All those people on Twitter are saying, you got to tank it out. The Cavs have the worst record in the NBA. They have a 14% chance of getting that top pick. Mm-hmm. And then they have a 48% chance of having the 5th pick. Tanking does not guarantee you anywhere. So if the Wizards tank it out, like they're probably going to end up with, like best case scenario, they get to top 3 worst record because now those are all flattened. And they have a 14% chance of the top pick. They also have a 50% chance at picking 5th or lower, which is that's Jan Vesely country. So I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. It does seem better to like just try to win the games. Stop throwing away seasons. And we're dealing with this now as Grizzlies fans, John, where they're like, just blow it up. They're like, why? Why waste another year? Especially in the Wizards and Grizzlies examples. Why blow it up if the front office and coaches are the same?
Right.
What's the point?
And the risk you run of decimating your fan base and losing a fan base that was proud. I know that Wizards fans, there's been an uptick. This has been a playoff team. There's impassioned Wizards fans. There's an entire generation of grit and grind Grizzlies fans that are about to be gone.
Yeah.
That are about to abandon this ship.
I think,
and it's short-sighted BS like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is really profoundly stupid, and it's profound, and it's devastating to franchises. Do you remember? It was not long ago that magazines were touting the Memphis Grizzlies as the most valuable franchise in sports.
They were named like ESPN's best franchise in sports 3 years ago.
Read that back again. Just a few short years later.
So
and now we're talking about trading Mark Gasol for like Michael Beasley's expiring butt. Like,
I mean, again, I'm not saying trade away future assets. I'm not saying trade away future assets to try to get somewhere this season. I'm just saying you don't tank it out for no reason.
I think
if someone will give you future assets for a good player, you consider it. You have a meeting about it. Like, oh, can we get a first-round pick from Sacramento for Otto Porter? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But we're not going to have a fire sale for the sake of having a fire sale because, like, the odds are we get the 5th pick next year, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, your odds of getting a franchise-changing player from, like, the 4th pick to the 30th pick, they're almost flat. It's almost the same. You don't know where those good players are coming from when you get outside of the top handful of picks.
Yeah.
The only tanking that I think is even like okay is when you can sell your fan base on it around an injury or something like what the Spurs did or what the Grizzlies did.
I think it's market. I think it's market specific. I think tanking in a market like a market like Memphis isn't as you're going to sell all your tickets in Philadelphia probably anyway, whether you tank or not. When you're talking about a team in Memphis like that, you start tanking, and then you don't pull the nose up when you nose dive to try to get a good pick. You're done. You've lost a whole generation of viewers, and that's a problem.
But there are markets as large as Chicago who have lost entire fan bases. The Blackhawks and the Senden family, totally killed that market for years and years. And teams, I'm telling, like the Grizzlies are running the risk.
Grizzlies are close because they're not. Well, so Grizzlies aren't tanking; they're trying to win, and they're 7-20 with a healthy squad since Thanksgiving.
Healthy.
I mean,
I'm not entirely sure what the Grizzlies are doing.
But a team like the Bulls, same thing with Garpax. You have NBA Twitter fans, Bulls, who want the tank, the blow up. People who go to the games a lot of times, it's controversial. I feel like now we've gotten to this point where when you get frustrated if your team is not playing well, you almost give up, and you're like, I just want to give up and not have to cheer for wins.
Oh yeah, that middle.
So,
it's almost like when you say, I hope they tank. You're really just like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah, this is not fun that we only win 40%
I wish this team had a really good player on it. And that's what it is. It's like we're one guy away, and everyone thinks they are. And it turns out some teams are, if that one guy is right for you. You know, Luka, as an example, that he's changed the whole understanding of the Mavs in Dallas.
Right.
You know, they love this team again, and they're not that great, but the excitement sells the tickets, and it is market specific. So I don't know if DC can get away with it. They have a long history of basketball in that town, but you know, there's a lot going on in Washington, and if you're not putting out a good product, maybe people aren't showing up.
Well, Ted Leonsis is an idiot and a bad owner, but I'm glad he said this.
Yep. What's you guys got a steak and eggs?
My best thing?
Well, I'll stay on the topic that Chuck just brought up, because mine is Mr. Warmth himself, Triumph the insult comic, Luka Doncic. Chuck and I, we're starting to try to stream live games. We don't have a name for it yet, but I think every Wednesday night or every other Wednesday night, we're going to try and watch some games, get Keith in on it from time to time.
Do or do not. There is no try anymore. We're not trying anymore. We're doing this now. We're doing the damn thing, John.
Please be quiet while I'm speaking.
You got it.
Luka Doncic brings his entire the Mavs should be unwatchable if you look at that roster.
Really?
Oh yeah,
they should be unwatchable, and with the addition of one player, they are definitely top 3 most watchable.
Yeah,
team.
They're one of the most exciting teams to watch. Yeah, for sure, because you just never know.
I mean, when he's on the court, the excitement level, the what can happen factor is through the roof.
Yeah. And even
there's not very many players, like there's LeBron. I think the must see players, he's on the list now. Like you need to be when you're swapping channels, right? He makes you stop.
So sure. I don't even know if we have time for the entire conversation that I'm about to mention. The thing with Luka Doncic, I agree with you, John, and it looks like we're in a world where we're coming up to a point where he's going to be voted. He's going to win the fan vote for the All-Star game, and there's a chance.
Yeah.
He's first team NBA.
The Zach Lowe's and Kevin Arnovitzes of the world are like, he's not one of the 12 best players.
Oh yeah,
and it's like this is a monumentally popular worldwide player who
is 19.
He's averaging 23, 8 and 8 in January. He's averaging on the season, I don't know what it is, like 19, 6 and 6. Like, he's putting up great stats. He's the Mavs' best player. He's crazy entertaining. The fans just voted him into the All-Star game, and you're telling me a bunch of nerds and players are going to be like, he needs to pay his dues.
Yeah.
I did not mean to derogatorily use the term nerds. I apologize. I am a nerd and a geek.
It's fine. Yes. We won the battle.
But
and the war.
Coming up with the reasons why Luka Doncic should not be an All-Star is great. He's why they should be All-Stars.
Right.
Like, he's fun to watch.
Doing it
incredibly
while saying,
popular.
Jamal Murray should make it out of the other side of your mouth is insane.
Yeah. Where it's like, guys,
that's insane.
Danilo Gallinari's true shooting percentage is one of the reasons the Clippers are good. That is true. But
Danilo
Luka Doncic is electric.
Yeah.
And the fans have voted for him. Don't overthink this.
Shut up.
I was happy. Greg Popovich said a lot of incredibly nice things about Doncic, being like, it's unbelievable how calm, how unrushed, and in control he is. The 19-year-old is a phenomenal player. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, maybe the coaches will give it up for Luka Doncic when they're picking their subs. And
he's not a jerk. There was
he's kind of a jerk.
Nah, he I guess accidentally kneed Jonas Jerebko in the nuts in that game against the Dubs.
That was hard.
Hey,
I watched that play a lot.
I
think it was all.
being a jack.
Like he handled it the best way possible. Jerebko gets the foul. He's walking back to the court and gives Jerebko this look like, "Sorry, bro." Like, no, I know I did it. My bad. So he's like, I think he's got the personality he's not out there with what could be deserved hubris, where he could be kind of a jerk because he came in and is dominated from the beginning. But he kind of has that cool, personality that people are digging in the league. So I can see him. He needs to be an all-star. He needs to be on that team for sure.
If he leads up to the All-Star game with like 2 months of averaging 23, 8, and 8. And then they're like, no, he's not one of the 12 best. It's like, yes, he is. Why are you overthinking this? Anyway,
just put down your vorps,
bro. Danilo Gallinari would sever his own testes to be the player Luka Doncic is.
Exactly.
Those were our steak and eggs. Opposite of steak and eggs, the cream of wheat. Worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw? We kind of mentioned it. I'll go ahead and say mine. It's the trade market for Mike and Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
Good God.
I've been trying to come up with trades. I'm like a text. I'm like DM people on Twitter. I'm like, hey, Suns blogger, would you give us T.J. Warren and Ryan Anderson's contract for Mike Conley? And they're like, no, I'm good, bro. It's like Grizzlies fans are like, no, you can't trade him for just T.J. Warren. I'm like, yeah, I might.
You keep posting them in Slack, and they make me so mad.
Yeah.
And then I get really then I start getting really just mad at the world because I'm like, good God, is he right?
I'm like, Orlando Magic, would you give me Terrence Ross and Evan Fournier? Like, no, I don't think so. I'm like, oh, okay.
But check this out, Keith.
Uh-huh.
I think that fans and especially like people on Twitter are really into saying no to offers.
Well, everyone loves their own players more than is reasonable.
Yeah.
It's fanatics.
I feel like I could see the Suns franchise trading TJ Warren and Ryan Anderson and like a second round pick, or best case scenario like a D'Anthony Melton for Mike Conley. And I don't think it's a terrible move. Again, the dunked on hive mind would hate it.
Right.
I think it's a fine move.
I think if a trade happens, I think the Grizzlies are going to get more than people think.
I can't come up with it. The only Gasol trades make sense if you go to the Lakers, if he promises to opt out. If he goes to the Mavs and promises to opt out. Ted Leonsis, if he wants to make the playoffs, I think, again, I mentioned it before, you can work out a three-way trade with Marc Gasol going to the Wizards, and maybe they would send something.
Right.
But again, it's like you're not getting much. I think maybe the Hornets could send a protected pick. The team, I think the Detroit Pistons should send a first-round pick in Reggie Jackson and like John Lure or whatever. Bad contract for Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Mike Conley in Detroit makes sense to me.
Man, if Detroit had any kind of guard play at all, they would be like literally 50% better.
Yeah, they would be at least a playoff team, although they'd be bad.
Because they've got nothing.
Yeah,
it's insane.
So that's my worst thing. You're not getting anything for Mike or Mark.
So my worst thing is we're going to go to Oklahoma City, and we're going to look up in the rafters, and we're going to see the number of a player who's awful. Now, he's not bad. Played 15 years or 14 years, all with the Thunder. Mr. Thunder feels a little, forced. Because there is actually a Mr. Thunder. I mean, if Russell Westbrook isn't Mr. Thunder, there is no Mr. Thunder.
Well, we're talking about Nick Collison, if you don't know.
Nick Collison.
The Thunder have announced.
Do you know what number he wore?
I do.
Okay.
Four?
But I would not have known before they announced that his number was being retired. This is uncomfortable for me.
Let's talk about it.
I only know his number because he would foul 600 times a game during Grizzlies games because they put him in just a foul. So the ref was constantly putting the number over to the scorer's table.
This feels like applauding a white man for trying really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
In deep red state America.
I don't follow the Thunder closely enough to understand if he struck the same chord with people like Zach Randolph.
But then you can turn around and say
Tony
like the
Allen.
Tony Allen
Well, so
thing.
I know Tony Allen and Zach Randolph struck a chord among Grizzlies fans and among the community. Did Nick Collison do that in Oklahoma City? I don't know.
Miami. Like there are players that
they're
do
not
that
going to
franchises.
retire Udonis Haslam's number. Is he 40?
40. I think he could.
He could maybe.
I think
for the culture.
The culture is what, and that's what I think they're trying to cultivate there. But the culture in Oklahoma City is far less eclectic than the culture in Miami.
I know what you're saying.
What?
If they retire,
mention Miami without
so here's the
mentioning
thing.
culture?
Are they?
He brought it up.
Are they going to retire Kevin Durant's number 35?
Right.
Because if they don't retire Kevin Durant's number 35 and they retire Nick Collison's number 4 just for staying with the franchise because you had no other options.
This can't be the first jersey retired.
No one gave you another contract offer. No. He has. This is bad,
It's
and
weird.
it's the worst of the week, and it's just a little dog whistle to the fans of the Thunder.
I do
who really only became fans for the white guy.
I'm going to back it off and say I don't have an issue with them retiring his number, but it feels feels weird. And if he was black, I'm not sure it would happen.
You know what they should do to that man? He needs to be an assistant coach or on the broadcast. That is all the honor he needs.
He will be.
Yeah, but he doesn't need that's just a franchise with no history. The Sixers took like 20 years to retire Moses Malone's number.
That's because that's a real franchise.
Exactly.
Posthumously.
We had to die.
We're just dunking all over the Thunder. Sorry, is it Michael?
No, it's just
our Thunder. Our Thunder
it's a
fan
clown
patron?
shoes organization. Everyone framed them as being the like nice, whatever, wonderful new guys on the block with KD and Russell when the Heat were the bad guys. But that ownership stole basketball from a great basketball city, and now they're showing their ass.
This is
being
clown
stupid.
shoes.
Bush League.
Are they? I can't wait for the Pistons to put John Lure's numbers up in the web.
I gotta find out first if people adore Nick Collison. If
it has to be.
I swear to God, when I saw Collison have his number retired by Thunder, I for a second was like, when did Darren Collison play for the Thunder?
So like Tony Allen is my favorite player.
Right.
Are there a lot of like hardcore NBA fans in Oklahoma City who Nick Collison is their favorite player of all time? Was there?
Yes. They have Confederate flag stickers on the back of their pickup trucks. Bet.
Well, I think he's like I think he is like the Tony Allen for them for some people.
So if that's the case, again, then I support the move. Like for me, I find it hard to believe he was the Tony Allen for them.
My question is,
I never heard about him being the Tony Allen for them.
I need to do some hypocrisy checking right now. When Tony and Zebo's numbers go up, is that the first Grizzlies numbers ever to go up?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm being a complete hypocrite.
Of course you can be. This is your team.
That's fine.
And you know your team, and
this is where I live.
I only know one Thunder fan. I will ask her tonight how she feels about it.
John, what's your worst thing?
So I had something NBA related, but I have to tell you guys about all the things that are happening to me in this room. Since we have started this, I picked a bay right next to the exit. It's gotten to the point where I thought somebody was screwing with me. A blind man with a cane has come in, tapping into the room.
Love it.
A small child came in and turned the lights off. And then finally, this is a workplace, this is a creative zone. A guy just came in here, waved at me wearing full Dickies suit and a John Deere hat.
Are you
full Dickies overall?
Are you on the set of Bird Box? Because there's blind people and children turning off lights.
I ran into that blind person in Red Dead Redemption. Not actually blind. Not actually blind. It's a trick.
Kind of like Stevie Wonder.
I gotta say, John, you're lucky no one's coming in with a guitar to try to hash out a few bars.
Mm-hmm.
There's pretty.
I just keep pointing to my phone like I'm clearly talking. Like I just point at it. It's just like, what is happening? It feels like candid camera. Somebody sending, because it was a dude, with the cane with the red tip.
Mm-hmm. John, you got to get back in that Red Dead. I'm going to do a bonus. I'm going to do a bonus Patreon episode. I got to talk about Red Dead Redemption. I've gotten more into it, and I have so much stuff to talk about.
Keith, I failed us all, man. I played it when it first came out, and I haven't.
I know.
Touched it.
I think the Round Ball Rock guys have actually played. They finished it. Maybe I'll get a bonus episode with them doing that. Let's move to the awards segment of the program. The International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award given each week to the worst performance in a box score. We have a few honorable mentions. CJ McCollum, trade him to Orlando for Aaron Gordon, 2 for 14. Danilo, you are not an all-star. Gallinari, 3 for 14. Kyle Kuzma, Reggie Jackson, Harry Barnes, 4 for 18. Those are your honorable mentions. We have 3.
Wow, 4 for 18 is honorable.
And CJ McCollum's, again, a surprising 2 for 14 honorable. We have 3 nominees this week as they occurred chronologically through the week. Jay Crowder.
Jay.
I shop God on the negative fantasy league at Fantrax.com. In a win against the Bulls, 1 for 13. 6 points, 3 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks. That's kind of sexy. 2 turnovers, 3 personal fouls. Damari Carroll, been playing real good recently, but not so much this game. In a win against the Boston Celtics, he was 2 for 14. 10 points, 14 boards, 2 assists, a block, a turnover, 2 personal fouls. And then the NBA's resident tough guy, Bobby Portis.
OG Bobby Portis.
In a loss to the Lakers only win since Christmas. I can't remember. 1 for 11, 2 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 4 personal fouls. So Jay Crowder, 1 for 13, 6 points, 3 boards. Damari Carroll, 2 for 14, 10 points, 14 boards. Bobby Portis, 1 for 11, 2 points, 7 boards, 3 assists. I think it's comfortably Jay Crowder.
I'm going Crowder.
1 for 13. I like the four stocks is nice, but 1 for 13 is when you get that elite bad.
Man, that's cold. That's clammy. That's Clam Crowder.
Do it.
Thank you, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck is the comedian.
Oh, no.
Reminder.
Don't you dare.
And actually, it's time for this date in iShop history.
This is my favorite.
On January 17th, 1952, Jumpin' Joe Folks. That's right, Hall of Famer Joe Folks. He went 1 for 16, scored 6 points, and fouled out.
Well, he tried.
He did try. So that's
I think you got your podcast confused and are talking about Red Dead Redemption because there's no way there was a Joe Folks.
Hall of Famer Joe Folks in a game for the Philadelphia Warriors in 1952, 1 for 16, 6 points and a foul out. But you know what he didn't do?
Well,
I bet he didn't travel. I bet he had a real nice established pivot foot.
He definitely was fundamentally strong.
He played the right way.
Bob McAdoo and Joe Folks were the hole in the wall game. They robbed that stagecoach, and then they all died. They all succumbed to tuberculosis.
Right before the par fadeaway / Grizzlies epilogue. Gotta say a couple things, John. I gotta ask you. Maybe you're more objective than me. I don't feel like I'm biased, but people are getting real mad. I'm talking angry. I keep pointing out that Javon Carter is not super good.
That's one of your favorite things to say.
It's a hobby of mine.
Yes.
John, what's your opinion of Javon Carter? Am I missing something? Is he showing?
Shouldn't be playing right now.
I mean, I'm even on the board. I'm okay with him playing because the Grizzlies are bad. But I just wanted to be clear. If you've watched the games, he is terrible. Mm-hmm. So you think he's terrible too? It's not just me?
No, it's not just you. He sucks. He's terrible right now.
He has intense stands on the internet. Like, people are angry.
Yeah.
I did the Goodwill Hunting "It's Not Your Fault" gif to point out that the Grizzlies are 0-11 when Javon Carter plays in a game. And then I did the "It's Not Your Fault" just to even say it wasn't his fault. People are furious.
Hey, when there's love, there's love.
And I'm like, you not see the thing?
I wonder if
he was like a 4-year starter, I think, at West Virginia.
He probably just comes from a big family. He's got a bunch of cousins.
He has not a single offensive move.
So check this out.
If he's one-on-one with the player, he has no move.
Mm-hmm.
He was sold as the next Tony Allen.
Right.
So people were sold a bill of goods, and it's just not there. And maybe it could be there because, I mean, he is like an insane motor defense first guy, but like he's so far away from being useful in an NBA game.
The game just needs to slow down a bit more for him, and it happens with rookies.
Maybe he will
get there. If he's got the effort on defense and he's causing disruptive,
he's trying hard on defense, and that's all you want. That's fine.
So
Javon Carter stuff doesn't piss me off nearly as much as like Shelvin Mack, JaMychal Green stuff.
No, so JaMychal Green is playing the best basketball of his career.
Who did he just dunk
and
on?
it's still bad.
He killed Ersan Ilyasova.
Oh, Ilyasova. Oh my God.
So here's the thing. Here's the total take. What we know for sure is JB Bickerstaff has no concept of how to run an NBA team. He started Javon Carter one game. He played him 7 minutes. Javon Carter did fine. Never didn't play him again. Then the next game he started Justin Holiday, who they traded 2 second-round picks. Excuse me. This has become abundantly clear. The Grizzlies did not trade 2 second-round picks to acquire Justin Holiday.
No,
they traded 2 second-round picks to cover up for the gaffe of accidentally not trading 2 of their players who wanted to probably fight the coaching staff and front office every day. They traded 2 second-round picks just to get rid of Wayne Selden, who's looked fine on Chicago, and Marshawn Brooks. So Justin Holiday, they're not even playing him. They're still not playing him.
The Holiday trade to me was like almost an off switch for the season for me. Like I'm not watching Grizz games live anymore.
Right. I think you told us that last week. It's too much. Yeah, so which of the players on the Grizzlies thinks JB Bickerstaff is a good coach and knows what he's doing?
Dude,
because I know for a fact
if Gasol is in fact a coach killer, as has been purported, Bickerstaff is about to die because Gasol doesn't look at him. Gasol doesn't acknowledge him when JB's trying to get his attention. He looks away. I think Conley's too nice to do that, but Gasol's body language towards him is completely dismissive.
Ooh, give me that body language.
And if Gasol's doing that, God help him. You know,
in the last 15 games, the Grizzlies are 27th. In net rating, only ahead of the Cavs, the Bulls, and the Knicks. This team has gotten every game. I think Mike missed one game. Mike, Mark, Jaren Jackson Jr. have been healthy, totally.
Right.
JaMychal Green's given us his best offense, and they're bad. And I don't know where they go, but I do know Javon Carter is bad, and I don't understand why. I mean, I understand you want your young players to be good and be excited about them. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you could watch the games and be like, oh yeah, he's bringing it.
Right.
I mean, also
he stole the ball from James Harden on his first play.
He stole the ball
from Chris Paul.
And then James Harden did not guard him, and he hit a couple threes. He has hit some wide open threes when no one guards him. And Shelvin Mack has been abysmal.
Bad.
He's horrible.
Real bad.
But I mean, one of them should play backup point guard for 12, 14 minutes. Joakim Noah should still never play. Ivan Rabb is better than Joakim Noah. It's been so bad
that I've totally, I still would rather have your dream version of Andrew Harrison than any of these players.
There's an open spot on the roster. I would rather have Andrew Harrison play than Shelvin Mack. Andrew Harrison is like 6 months older than Javon Carter. Javon Carter looks 41. Yeah, he's 23. But anyway, things are rough for the Grizzlies. I don't know where they go. They're in they're in an extremely tough part of their schedule, and Kyle Anderson is not playing, which was a huge deal because he's like their only good wing. Garrett Temple is also gunning for a new contract. Garrett Temple's out of his mind. The shots he's taking, I think he's lost it.
Somebody's got to score.
He's shooting 20-footers with like 20 seconds on the shot clock. I think he's trying to get that career high in points.
So the only player on the Grizzlies that I don't hate at least half the time is Kyle Anderson, who's now hurt.
You can't be hating.
Shlomo.
I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr., you got to quit fouling, brother. You have to be on the court.
Yeah.
Just concede baskets. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like Mike and Mark, every other game, I'm like, I hate you. I hate you now. What is happening?
Yeah, they are.
What has happened?
This is sad. They are brutal. This is sad. Watch party Monday, November 28th. What am I going to do with these Chandler Parsons yoga mats?
I want them.
November 28th.
January. Sorry, I must have misspoke. January 28th, Monday against the Nuggets. Come watch the Jokic play. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
And at the very least, worth it.
Which team's garb will I wear?
Yeah, John doesn't know what fan he is.
You better wear them Grizzlies clothes. We are giving away a bunch of stuff. We will buy you your first drink if you come to the mainstay on Monday, November 28th. Anyway, that was a long, just pressing Grizzlies.
Quit saying November. What is wrong?
January. Sorry, a lot of stuff's going on.
Cannot go to a game next season.
A lot of stuff's going on in this end, John.
I guess that's it for me from Nashville Motor Speedway.
Yeah. I had a parfait.
Yeah, give me the parfait away, Chuck.
I mean, it was kind of long, but then we talked about the Grizzlies for forever.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to I just think it's very. I'm looking forward to LeBron in LA being so LA. He's missing time. He's building buzz for his spec script because that's what the Lakers are now. They're a spec. They aren't formed, but they have a star attached to the project.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he knows how Hollywood works now, being in 14 terrible movies. He can say, hey, look, we got this spec. We can pitch it around town, and we're going to try to get a big name attached to it. It'll come work with me. And
I'm pretty sure when Tom Cruise makes a movie now, all he does is he's like, can you cast someone who, like a female character that I can have a non-sexual interest in, platonic interest, but can you make sure she kind of looks like me? Huh?
So
I think LeBron's kind of that way too. Like he doesn't need Denzel's new action movies. I don't know who any of those actors are.
Right.
It's just, yeah.
But no, that's what I think this happened. And this year he's biding his time. The Lakers stink when he's not on the court. They're decent when he is, and they may not make the playoffs, but I feel like he's going to come back in time to kind of push him in because LA, he needs to create the buzz around, this spec with a little bit of playoff juice. And then once he gets that, he can, get a brow and get another guy to come over.
I would say I'm also looking forward to, with LeBron's extended injury, him completely destroying the trade value of all the young Lakers because they're very bad.
Oh, it is very evident that
Josh
they are
Hart's
worthless.
Untouchable?
Yes. Right?
Whoops. Should have never played him without LeBron.
Yeah.
That was Keith's real laugh.
Anyway,
that's the first time he's ever unleashed his real laugh.
if you want to support our ridiculous program, you can do that at patreon.com/fastbreak. Breakfast, if you're buying tickets, go to SeatGeek.com. Use our code FASTBREAKBREAK. All right, you guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fair break, man. You understand?